We had a lot of good, positive speeches and energy in this room today, and I appreciate all of it. Um, you ever feel like something is your destiny, something is your calling, that maybe you were put here for a reason, that everything that's ever happened to you has happened to you for a reason? You might not understand it why it's happening, and sometimes you might question everything, but in time, you'll understand it all. So, let me ask y'all this. What does being an individual mean? What does being your own person mean? Does anyone have an answer for that?
Like just being to yourself. Staying to yourself.
No. To be your own person. See, the powers to be, the world, society. It says that you're supposed to think black or white, not gray. Because if you think gray, then you're outside the box. You're an individual. You're your own person. You're an outcast in society because you don't fit the standard quo, right? So people think, when I say the powers to be, there's this man, the man controls this man. The man doesn't control nothing, that's fate. That's an excuse. Let me explain this to you. 10% of the world controls 90% of the money. 90% of the world fights for the other 10% of the money, the scraps. Those are the people that orchestrate the way the world works. They're the ones that make the decisions what to put on the news. Whether you're going to be a Democrat or Republican, they give you that to fight about. Whether you're going to have an iPhone or a Samsung, fight about that. Whether you're going to have Facebook or Instagram, whether you're going to drink a Pepsi or a Coke. See, because they manipulate you. They manipulate the masses. They keep you distracted so you don't see the bigger picture, so you don't become an individual, so you're not able to break the chains. Because as long as they can consume you and control you with your thoughts, then you're just part of the sheep being ushered through life by the wolves. The power of individuality, the power of your own mind, the power of thoughts to be different. But see, it's tricky because we get caught up in the worldly ways. We want to do the things that are cool. We want to buy the cool thing. We want to post the cool thing. We don't want people to not like us or talk about us or look at us like we're different. So we follow suit. Even when we think we're not, we follow suit. We look for the girl that has this, the guy that has that. We try to have this car, this watch, do this, do that, what is popular. They secretly, through the power of media, through the power of social media, through the power of the news, get in your head and tell you how to think, how to live. But how do you break that process? How do you become someone different? How do you become an individual? An awakening. See, in the world we live in now, most everyone only cares about themselves. People have lost touch with humanity and helping other people. Showing love, kindness, support, generosity. This is the second time I spoke this week. I went and spoke to 3 high schools at the Career Center a few days ago. Quentin went with me. I'll be speaking at another school on Tuesday. I'm not getting paid for any of this. I do this on my own time. Luckily for me, I've been successful in my endeavors, so it's allowed me to do different stuff like this. Someone recently said to me, why are you doing this? Why are you wasting your time talking to these people? Whose life are you going to change? What are you going to do? The world is what it is, and people are who they are, and you're not going to change anything. But my rebuttal to that is, It doesn't matter what you say, because in my eyes, as long as people have that attitude and continue to live that way and make those decisions, nothing will ever change. But if I go into a room and I speak to 500 people and 499 of them ignore me, but one listen, and guess what? I did make a difference. I changed one person's life.
That's right.
If I do that 10 times in a month, guess what? I changed 10 people's lives. Or I could just listen to them and be like, I can't help anyone, and go about my business and be one of the sheep that's just ushered through life. Or I can stand up and make a difference and say, nope, I'm not going to be that. So, how do we get out of the zone of who we are? We get so caught up in our life, we have to make our payments. We have to go to our job. We have to do this way. We have to keep this appearance up. How do you make a complete change? How does that happen? How does one decide to change everything? That's a good question. So, you ever seen an addict that gets really bad on alcohol, really bad on drugs, really bad on opiates, and they get out there and they fight this battle, and when they're fighting this battle, a lot of times they lose everyone. They lose the people close to them, they lose their jobs, their homes, their families, and they get in the streets. If those people are able to make a recovery in their life, and they turn their life around, have you ever noticed that even when they turn their life around, they're still looked at a little bit different? People still look at them a little bit funny.
Yeah.
And not only that, but have you ever noticed that their personalities, the way they carry themselves and move, is a little bit different than other people? And that is also part of the problem of people looking at them different. But the reason is also this: they were able to make the change. See, they fell all the way to nothing. And when they built themselves back up, the things that people take for granted every single day, having a car, having a home, having a family, having clothes to put on, being sober, stuff that people take for granted every single day, they no longer take for granted, because they lost it all. And they knew what it was like to fight an addiction, to be in the streets, to have nothing. So when they got everything back and they got their life together, they're seeing things through a different point of view, because they have become a little bit enlightened. Life was handed to them at first a certain way, but then they lost everything. And when they came back, now they see things different. Now when they go to get in their car, they're thankful to get in their car. Now when they used to just talk about pointless stuff they would talk about, now they're a little bit quiet and sit back. Now where they used to just take it for granted that they had a polo shirt to put on, now they really appreciate that. Their actions and the way they are a little bit different. I'm going to tell y'all a story about this guy. His name is LD. So, he was born into this world. He had a great mom, but his father had other plans. His father had plans on building success on a financial tip. He didn't really have time to be a father. So this woman, she tried to raise this young man on her own. She was a good woman, but she made some bad choices. In life, we all make bad choices, right? But sometimes when we make bad choices and we have kids, what we don't realize is they might be the ones that are suffering. So along the way, this boy starts to get beat on pretty bad. And he sees his mother get beat really bad too. He gets molested. He doesn't really have the guidance. He doesn't really have people there to care for him or take care of him the way he should. He gets ushered back and forth between 3 different states. He even gets passed through 13 homes in 1 year time. This boy had a grandfather that was a good man, former professional boxer. Found out a little bit of what was going on and tried to step in and help this young man and teach him some discipline and teach him how to be a man. took him in the ring, taught him how to fight, taught him what it was supposed to be like, what life was supposed to be like, how a man was supposed to be. Taught him how to fight. Which was a good thing, not such a good thing. Because the moment this man died suddenly, chains was lifted. There was nothing that could stop this young man. See, he was bred in chaos, he was bred in violence, he was bred being passed through homes, he was bred seeing nothing stable, he was molested, he was beat, he was taught how to fight. So you took someone that was bred in chaos and bred in violence, and you made him more violent. And now that there was no one there to control it, then it started to spiral out of control. So, this boy, he starts to live his life all the wrong way. In the streets, constantly fighting. So good at being bad, he started to get paid to be bad, to hurt people, and selling drugs, and doing drugs. One night, things went a little bit too far in the club. It doesn't matter who started it or how the whole situation went down. The person he got into it with, they lost their life. So this guy ends up going to prison for a decade and a half. Decade and a half now. The crazy thing is, this same guy was always extremely smart growing up. When he would go to school, he was great at it. He just couldn't stay in school. Anything he ever did, he excelled in it. The problem was, his focus was on the negative and bad. So he excelled at the negative and bad. This guy goes to prison. He's in prison a little over 3 years. He's living the same way. Matter of fact, he's getting in more fights than ever now, and he's thriving off of it. He's a skilled fighter. He was trained to fight. Plus, he's crazy and he likes to. Getting in trouble, getting in trouble, getting in trouble. He gets in a fight with 3 guys on a basketball court. He actually thought it was funny. He thought it was good recreation. This guy has a little bit of a black eye, cut on his chin, hands a little swole up. It's 2 days before his birthday. He's at the worst prison in the state of South Carolina. He's where death row is at. He's at Lieber Correctional Institution, the one prison you definitely don't want to go to in South Carolina. No one comes to see him. Who's going to come see him in prison? He gets a visit. And when he gets a visit, it's his mother. The one thing that was always beautiful in his life, no matter what, for her right decisions or wrong decisions, she loved him and she always had his back. So he tries to cover up, put glasses on so she doesn't see, but she sees and she knows. So they talk. She tells him she loves him. And she came to see him for his birthday. But she's brokenhearted because not only did she have to come to see him in prison, but she sees that he's still living his life the exact same way. He's sitting there with a black eye, cut on his chin, his hand the size of a baseball. Softball. She tells him, crying, "You were always so smart. You were always so good looking. You were always so on top of everything. You were such a leader. You were such a bright, shining light. Why did you choose this life? At any time, you could have chose different." People had said stuff like this to him his whole life, but he never could hear it. He was too wrapped up in the streets. But for the first time, he really heard it. He heard what was being said to him and knew that it was right. This guy went back to his cell and he wrote a letter to his mother. In the letter, he said, "My story is not done being written. I will change the narrative and I will finish the book the way that I want." This man asked for forgiveness for everyone that he had ever hurt. He said in return, he would forgive everyone that ever hurt him. So this man knew he had some work to do. Because how do you get from where you're at to where you want to be? Which takes us back to the beginning. How do you make the change? When you live your life a certain way and you're caught up in living this life a certain way, how do you take your life and turn it and become something different? How do you become consciously aware? So first he knew he had to go to the root of the problem. So he started studying psychology. He self-diagnosed his own problems and figured out the steps he needed to take to change to fix those. 10 hours a day. I haven't told this part before. 10 hours a day this man dedicated. He had promised himself he would spend 10 hours a day. 3 hours training the body, 7 hours training the mind. So, people thought it was crazy. Why is this guy working out like a madman? Why is he out here doing this stuff that no other person could do or would do? Why is he always reading? Why is he always studying? Why is he studying other religions? Why is he going through Ramadan? Why is he reading about Buddhism? Why is he reading all these factual books? Why is he doing all this stuff? What he was doing was, he was taking the time to make his mind and make his body one powerful muscle. To make the mental and the physical so strong that nothing would ever be able to stop him. That he would be prepared for anything that would ever come his way. So then he started to help other people while he was finishing his time out. Inmates, officers, staff. So much happened that he built a reputation where he was at that was so strong that when he came home, people already knew about him. He started getting attention just from what he had did back there. This guy had a lot to prove. He couldn't come home and be just another person. Because if he came home and became just another person, who would listen to him? This guy that had all these crimes on his record, that did all this time, who would listen to him? But if he came home and he proved who he was and showed people and led by example, that he knew he could make a difference because his story had built him for this. God saved his life when it took everyone else's around him. When he came home, he stopped going by LD. He went back to being called by his real name, which is Larry Dawson. So I continued in the fitness industry. I started my own fitness company. And I recently started, in the last year, my own promotion company. My own clothing line. I've been traveling around, speaking for some time now. If you're going to make a change, it has to start here first, your mind. Your body will follow after you make a positive change in your mind. But it won't just be an easy process. As you try to make positive change, the devil's going to come at you. He's going to have naysayers in the way. He's going to throw obstacles in the way. Every vice you have, he's going to throw at you 10 times harder than he ever threw at you before. It's because he doesn't want the real change. He doesn't want the positive. He wants the negative. But if you're strong enough here, you can overcome any of that. See, my goal is to not only change myself, but my goal was to help change other people's lives. So I knew that I could not be okay. I had to be great. I had to be a leader. People had to look up to me. People had to respect me. Because if they didn't, how would anyone ever listen to anything that I have to say? People respect me from the fitness industry. People respect me from the promotion industry. People respect me from the business industry. People respect me from my family. People that I just meet once or twice respect me. You can't find anyone that has anything negative or bad to say about me because I won't do anything to hurt anyone. The only thing I will do is try to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
I have members of my own family that act funny towards me because they don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand my mission. They don't understand why I make everything about dollar and cents. They don't understand why I would take time to go and help others, to do some of the things that I do. But it is my calling. I was saved, and my life was saved, and I was put through everything I was put through, and I was built for this. If I was a weak, normal man up here speaking to you, no offense to anyone, who would listen to me? See, it's not about being black, or being white, or being a Muslim, or being a Christian, or any of that type of stuff. It's about being a person, a human being. See, we talked earlier about the powers to be. The powers to be will give you stuff to fight about. They will put race out there so you'll fight about race and you won't see the bigger picture. It doesn't matter about race. It matters about money, the haves and the have-nots. As long as they're giving us race to fight about and we're fighting about race, they're good. Because we're not looking at the big picture, we're looking at the little picture. As long as they give us BS on Facebook to fight about, we can continue wasting our lives fighting every single day about the BS that's on Facebook that doesn't mean anything. And they're good, because they're the ones orchestrating that stuff. See, it's a mentality. Let me show you this really quick. Samsung, Apple. Those are the two big phone brands. They push them down your throat. To be cool, to be someone, you got to have a Samsung or an Apple, right? You can't have a Motorola. How cool would you be walking around with a Motorola? Because that's the mindset they want you to have. To work for them, to take your money and go pay $1,000 for a phone. So you can be cool and you can have a symbol. See, we have to break our thought process. We have to think outside the box. We can't think manipulated. We can't think the way that we've always thought before. Because the way we've been thinking, it hasn't been getting us anywhere. It's got us like a dog chasing our tails around in circles. But to move forward, we have to stop that thought process. You have to wake up and see what's really going on around you. We have to stop hating each other and start supporting each other. Stop tearing each other down and start loving each other. Stop having so much hate in your heart and start having some compassion in your heart. It's funny because a lot of times I go places, people will judge me by the way I dress, the color of my skin, my tattoos, the way I talk, who I date, the way I move. Because that's preconditioned thoughts. They don't see you for who you really are. That's why I always take that extra step to show people, whether it's helping a friend out, talking to someone, helping someone that's going through something hard, showing love and showing support, coming and speaking at events like this, raise awareness. You know, when we leave this room today, y'all might think, man, that was a good speech. That was a bad speech, whatever. But how many will leave the room and think, man, that was true. That was right. What can I do? Where can I change? What can I do to make things better? What can I give up? How can I help someone else? You have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And I know some of the most wealthy people, and you know, people like me, they respect me, but I know they look at me funny because I do stuff like this. They say, you've got all the potential in the world. Greatness is upon you. Just come and do this. But I choose to do this. I choose to do things my own way. And we'll tell you the story that I told Terry earlier today really quickly. I know I got to wrap this up soon. One of my friends is a motivational speaker, and he said to me, he wanted me to come to a conference, and I had like 8 different motivational speakers there. So this is something I've been doing for a while. And he said to me, I want you to come and I want you to listen to the different speakers. And I said, no thank you. I said, if you would like for me to come and support you, let me know when you're speaking. I will come and sit in the front seat and I will support you. But I don't want to come and listen to the other motivational speakers. He said, why? I said, because I don't want to sit there and listen and watch and hear the way people deliver stuff about how it's technically supposed to be done, when to pause, how to get people's attention, how to say this. I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to be a trained motivational speaker like everyone else. I don't want there to be 7,000 people and I'm one of the 7,000. I want to be the different one. I want there to be 6,999 right here and I want to be the one over here. I want to be different. That's why. So, next time you find yourself in a situation where you can help someone or you can be kind, help someone. Be kind. Make a sacrifice. Be consciously aware. There's some good people in this room, and I appreciate the speeches. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate what y'all said today. I'm going to say one last thing before I go. My grandfather used to have this saying that he would say to me, and it's a very simple saying, but the power in it, if you think about it for just a second, is absolutely amazing. He used to simply say this: smile, and the world will smile with you. Frown, and the world will frown with you. Be the best you, y'all. Thank you.